So yesterday we have seen hard disk. So I explain you about what is the importance of hard disk and what is the construction of hard disk, types of hard disk, working of a hard disk, as well as we'll say some of the important terms related to this hard disk. In continuation with this, I'll explain you now what is the servo mechanism that is used inside a hard disk. Yesterday we have seen we need to position the actuator arm onto the platter perfectly for better reading or immediate reading. And for that we use normally control voice coil. So this servo mechanism is used to position voice coil perfectly on a platter surface. There are three types of servo mechanisms: wedge servo mechanism, embedded servo mechanism, and dedicated servo mechanism. The major difference between three servo mechanism is that the only how the gray code information is actually stored onto the drive. When you say gray code information, so this is the information which is used to position your head perfectly onto the platter. If there is a misalignment, then that can be corrected by this data with the help of feedback mechanism, and it can be perfectly positioned over there. So skipping these particular three-way servers, I think this diagram will explain you both wedge servo mechanism as well as embedded servo mechanism. The first one is wedge mechanism. When we say wedge, that is a slice. You can say here in you will find there is a one slice at the end of each track. Now you know the what is track. That is a concentric circle that is called as a track. So there is a certain position or area which is reserved to store certain gray code information that is called as wedge servo information, and that is placed at the end of each track. That is, you will say, pre-index gap, or before just start of the track and end of the track. In between, this information is provided, as this information is available only during a revolution of this. So obviously there will not be any faster mechanism or faster feedback. So response speed will be somewhat slow, because this information, to get this information, the disk has to rotate entirely 360-degree. Then only the correcting information that can be again read from this particular wedge to have a faster response. Then embedded servo is used here. In embedded server, as the figure suggests, see these are all the sectors. Concentric circles are the tracks. These tracks are divided into sectors. Now this embedded servo information, that is a gray code information from embedded servo, is stored at the start of each sector. As it is stored at the start of each sector, so obviously the your head can read this particular information more number of times, and obviously as it immediately it will get a corrective action, and it will have an immediate feedback, and it can accurately reposition if there is any misalignment. Then here, this is the mechanism that is called as an embedded servo mechanism. Then third servo mechanism, as I said, it is a dedicated servo mechanism. In dedicated servo mechanism, what is done, one side of the platter is used to store this particular information. That is, entire track contains this uh, servo information in the form of gray code. So that will be the fastest. So obviously you are losing one side of this. So obviously capacity of the hard disk will be reduced. But if you want to have a very fast reading, accurate reading, precise reading, then in that case, one entire surface, that is upper surface, is given for storing this wedge gray code information, and that is dedicated only for this. That is why it is called as a dedicated servo mechanism. So these are the three mechanisms. Are obviously which servo mechanism is not normally not used, but embedded or dedicated servo mechanism is used to align or position your head perfectly below the track on the platter. So let's see. Now this is all about related to hard disk mechanism or maybe hard disk parts and different working of the parts and different terms. Now next part that we have to see today is related to your disk drive preparation. Obviously, when you have a hard disk, you you can purchase a new hard disk, and if you purchase a new hard disk, then how this hard disk should be prepared so that whatever the information or a data or a programs or a operating system that you can install on it. So there are three steps involved for preparation of hard disk drive. First step is low level formatting. Second is called partitioning, and third is called high level formatting. So you are normally know now what is formatting, because most of the times nowadays you use your USB flash drive, and if you want to remove all the data from USB flash drive, you need to format this particular flash drive. So this what exactly formatting is. So this formatting is a process of preparing a data storage device such as hard disk or maybe solid state device, floppy disk or USB for initial use. That means when you have a new device and if you wanted to use that particular device, you need to format that particular device. When you said format, actually you are making your entire data blank or empty. You are removing all these fat structure, file, directory structures, which we are going to see. In fact, what is exactly this file fat or directory structure? It is very similar like an index or what we say content. Whenever you say any index of any book, from that index you come to know what is inside and where it is. Similar information computer retrieves from this particular portion that is called as a fat file and directory structure, which is actually created on your hard disk. Again, I'll say it is very similar if you are using only one notebook for 5 lectures. You normally plan that particular notebook by dividing into 5 parts. So you make that partitions, and on which each subject starts, probably you note down on the first page. This is a page number, this particular starts over. Similar sort of information is actually created on a hard disk during formatting process. And then what are the reasons or whenever you require to are you required to go for formatting a drive, or what is the purpose of formatting, or when you should use format commands or format a drive? So there are 5 6 reasons listed here. So first very one, if you want to remove all the data or clean that particular disk, maybe you have to reinstall the operating system. Maybe this hard disk you have to give it to somebody else. Okay, then in that case, you have to clear that particular or remove all the data. Then it is best solution to remove all the data immediately is the formatting it is. Suppose you want to install or upgrade a new operating system, then also you need to format a disk. If you want to change a file system, now we'll see what is a file system today. That is FAT system, FAT32, NTFS, or any other operating system that is for a respective maybe Linux or Macintosh or Windows. Then you need to change this particular file system. Suppose whatever the partitions you have created earlier, if you want to move those partitions, resize, split, or merge these partitions, that means you want to change the capacity size, then in that case, we also go for formatting. Nowadays, there are certain options available. You don't actually need to go for partitions. You can use certain disk management features for doing these operations without formatting. If a system becomes slow, then formatting is the best option, which reinstalls entire operating systems, all deleted files and defragmentation fragmentation will be removed, and you will find that the system will definitely improve. That is, performance of the system will be improved and it will be somewhat faster. If there is a problems like viruses or this, and you face intermittent operation. Sometimes you start with it gives startup problems, hangs in between. If you fail that these are they may be related to virus problems, then you may format your hard disk. Of course, because of virus, I will never suggest you to go for formatting a disk because there is a good antivirus is available. If you install antivirus on your system, then you will have a less startup problems. So these are the 5 6 reasons mainly. But as I said, format is really a dangerous command. Dangerous in the sense, by mistake, if you say file formatted drive, and if it is formatted, then it is very difficult to recover your data. Sometimes, but by advance, if there is nothing overwrite written onto it, it is possible sector by sector or track by track of formatted data. But you should carefully use. In a sense, you should remember once you formatted data, you are not going to recover that particular data. So make a decision very judiciously, very carefully whenever you want to format a disk, and be careful which drive you are formatting. And as I said, first step is low level formatting. Whenever you have a new disk or when you are putting that new disk in a proper use, you must undergo a low level formatting process. For any new hard disk, you have to do low level formatting. Now, when I say you have to do here, nowadays you don't require to go for low level formatting because most of the drive manufacturers they do this low level formatting at the factory level itself, and that when it is done they actually check their hard disk. It also marks if there is any bad sector. Of course, when you purchase a new hard disk, it is quality controlled hard disk, so obviously for a new hard disk there is a very less chances, almost 99.9% there will not be any bad sectors. So if there is any bad sector, actually this is the process which marks those bad sectors so that data will not be written onto those bad sectors. See, somewhere up to 93, 94, up to 486 base machine, there was a provision made in the BIOS utility, that is basic input output system utility. In fact, we are going to discuss this BIOS maybe 2 days after 2, 3 lectures. So this BIOS was giving this particular facility at the user end. User can do low level formatting by using these BIOS features. But this feature is in advanced BIOS. This is entirely removed because now low level formatting is mostly done at factory level itself. So in whenever you do format, automatically track sectors are written onto the disk. Entire table is created, or in fact formats. Whenever these track sectors are written, then any operating system can recognize these tracks and sectors based on the information written during low level formatting. Actually, what does it format? Actually, it prepares the media so that this media will be visible to any operating system which can read it. Again, this low level formatting is independent of the operating system to be used on the machine. If you purchase any hard disk, then that hard disk can be used for Linux or a Unix or even Windows or a Mac system, irrespective of operating system. As I said, it also marks the bad sector. So this is a process of low level formatting. Now the next step, what we call as the disk partitioning. So obviously when you have a large volume, to organize this large volume in better way, we normally divide entire hard disk into some sections. This is very similar like if we have a large cupboard, we never keep entire large cupboard without any partitions. If you put certain partition, then that cupboard will be useful for keeping our maybe clothes or luggages or some important uh, say what valuables that you can put into certain compartments. So making compartments is called as a partitioning. So similar line, we also make certain compartment to the entire disk. That entire process of creating small compartments or regions is called as a partitions. Basically, partition divides entire physical disk into logical partition. That means disk remains the same, but we logically divide it into partitions. It is typically the first step before installing any operating systems onto it. So here this partition, whenever you format, whenever you do high level format, at that time this partition table information is automatically written onto your hard disk. Each partition appear to operating system as a distant logical disk that use part of the actual disk. So in partitioning, if you partitioning is normally done by using a different tools. Most at the end of the lecture, I'll show you how this partitioning can be done by using disk management feature, or at the same time you can use the format command, or you can use the third party utility. There are many third party utility softwares available which are much better than the softwares that come along with the operating system. Of course, every operating system has this utility or managing your hard disk, but better utilities you'll still find by using the third party softwares which can give you the facility to remove or resize or split partition, make partition compatible with the maybe different operating systems. So of course, the third party tools, I'll recommend third party tools for better working. This even this management is also sufficient for most of the times. If it is not sufficient, then only you can go for third party tools. This partitioning allows you to use different file system to be installed on a different kinds of files. Different file systems you can install. When I say different file systems, I mean for every operating system, there is a different file system. Now, if I want to recommend you how you should use your hard disk, I will always say that normally, how your hard disk can be divided into four partitions. That is what we called as a four primary partitions you can do into your hard disk. But when you create a four primary partitions, you can also do one extended partition. If you do a one extended partition, you can have a multiple partitions into extended partitions. In short, at least any hard disk can be divided into four different compartments. I will recommend that if you are using hard disk and if you efficiently or effectively wish to use the hard disk, then you should have at least two parts of a hard disk. One is for system files, another is for user data files. That means one application's C drive you should exclusively, let us say if you have about 500 GB hard disk, then I will say that you divide this 500 GB hard disk. Maybe 200 GB hard disk you keep it for system files, where you'll have all operating systems and related application softwares like uh, like your C++ or maybe Microsoft Office or Photoshop or some video editing softwares or some day-to-day like a Java programming or some programming softwares or some editors. If you want to keep, you can keep it on a C drive. Then whatever the data you create, that you can keep it on a D drive. All your folders, files, you can keep it on D drive. And if you really want to keep certain important data, or maybe like your as you are interested in your music or maybe movies or like that, this is a large files relatively, you can have another partition for it. At least what is the advantage of this using two partition? In case you need to upgrade your system, or if you need to, if your system becomes slow, then if you want to format operating system and again reload or upgrade your operating system, you can without any botherations, you can just format your C drive. It will not affect any other your drive, DEV. That is why I'll recommend you must have at least two partitions on your hard disk. Of course, this partition can be used by all the operating system as, or entire all these partition can be used by one operating system, or each operating system can use a different partitions. Even it is also possible on your computer you can have a dual boot. That means on same laptop or same desktop machine you can install two operating systems. One is Linux, one is Windows. Or you may say one is Windows 7, one is Windows 10. Like these two operating system can be installed on a same machine, and you can interchange or you can select which operating system you want to boot from. Whenever you say booting of a system, that means starting your computer. And booting process, as I said, just after studying BIOS, I will immediately start with the booting process. So this is partitioning. As a picture itself suggests, you will find you can have a primary partition. There can be four primary partitions like what is shown in the blue color. Similarly, you can have a one extended partition, and in one extended partition you can create multiple logical partitions. Each operating system can use own file system. So obviously a partition for using operating system for a file, then in that case, remember the structure created by each operating system is different. But whenever it create a structure, so as I said here, there can be four partitions allowed per disk. Whenever you create a partition, obviously, whichever your bootable drive, that it becomes always your active partitions or bootable partitions, and our active or bootable partition is always your C drive. The name given to is C drive because historically A and B drives were reserved for floppy disks, though nowadays we do not use any floppies, but still A and B are still reserved for A floppy drive. So first drive that is created during installation of your operating system, which is an active and bootable partition, is always your C drive. See, high-level formatting can be done using format command or format utility, or you can also install high-level formatting also done during your installation of OS. It asks some of the questions to you. And if you want to format your hard disk at that time also during installation through GUI interface, you can format it. Whenever you install operating system, it creates create the structures that manages files and data. So what exactly operating system does? It creates two important sectors. One is called as a master boot record. It is the very first sector onto your hard disk, and in fact it is the most important sector on your hard disk. Each contains information. I will go briefly in MBR. Another is a boot sector for each partition. There is a boot sector for each partition. Then it also enables operations to manage space, files, and defective areas. As I said, whenever you create a format a hard disk, it always creates the two areas. One is called as the system area, another is called as the file area. When we'll study booting process, during that time I will explain you about how your hard disk is formatted, then how your system files are created right from your DOS, then Windows 95, then maybe Windows XP, then other versions, that is advanced versions of operating system like Windows Vista or Windows 7 or maybe Windows 7, 8, 8.1 and Windows 10. That is how these partitions are made and what are the changes Microsoft have made during formatting of this, and which area is reserved, how much area is reserved, and why that particular area is reserved. Those things we will consider when we study the booting process and maybe related formatting for or related partitions and boot sector, etc. So for today, you have to remember formatting creates the two areas. One is called the system area where your system files are created, stored. That is the operating system files are stored, and the remaining area is for the users. He can put a software, he can put the data, he can organize whatever the way he want to use. This So it is a logical format. Whatever you say higher level formatting, it is again a logical formatting which create the table of contents onto your hard disk. Now we'll talk, as I said, when you format a hard disk, what is more important is MBR, that is master boot record. Okay, this is the system area. Where it is located? It is located on the very first cylinder, very first head, and the very first sector of the disk. Of course, it is at the outer side of your platter, first platter, because your cylinders are always marked from outer side to inner side. Even tracks are marked from outer side to inner side. So obviously the very first cylinder, first head and first sector is your boot sector. It is of 512 bytes long. This is a fixed size. In right from last 40 years, your MBR is still a 512 bytes only. It contains all the partition table information. It also contains what are the different types of file systems you have used, then what is the structures of the file system, and then the different important aspects of the file system, like is the allocation unit, or what are the clusters, what is the size of the clusters. All these important information is stored into your, and whenever any operating system reads master boot sector, it has an idea that how many partitions are there, which is the active partition, where to search for booting information. That booting information is uh, operating system receives from your master boot record. Then from that master boot record, it locates where that boot sector is. As I said, boot sector is vary. For every partition, there is a boot sector. For every operating system, its boot sector is different. For all the operating system, there is only one MBR. Whether you have Linux or whether you have Windows or that, master boot record will be only one, but you will have a boot sector that is immediate to the after MBR. You will have a boot sector, and for each partition there will be a one boot sector, and that boot sector actually during loading it search for a small program that is called as a bootstrap loader, and that once that particular bootstrap loader program found in the boot sector, immediately your computer jumps to वन मिनिट. हा, भरत सर, मी जरा एक घेतोय लेक्चर. मी तुम्हाला अर्ध्या तासाने फोन करतो. Okay, then here, as I said, we are talking about the bootstrap loader. So this is a very small program on which we'll see the importance of this program, which is actually useful for uh, it actually resides in a boot sectors and loads by the operating system into certain memory address, fixed memory address. Once that is loaded into memory address, then automatically booting starts. Once boot starts, then it actually loads the command.com, then ms.sys, and maybe io.sys. These are the files which were used in the earlier computers. This booting process, anyway, I'm going to explain you for each, and we will compare the booting process of Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1, and this is a very advanced process compared with the what is the earlier process. What is more important, as I said, master boot record, it is very important because it is a vital sector. If that first sector is damaged because of certain reasons, you have to throw your hard disk. That becomes unusable. That is why this MBR, or the very first sector, it is very important because it contains almost all the information related to that drive, which will be useful for any types of operating systems during startup of your computers. Then immediately after this MBR, if you understood what is MBR now, then if you understood what is boot sector, so these are the two sectors of 512 bytes each. Probably boot sector can be long, but MBR is always a 512 bytes. Then it creates what is called as a FAT, or this is called as a file allocation table. Obviously, whatever the user creates the file, those files you should be able to track where it is stored, on which track, on which sector it starts, what is the name of the file, what is the attributes of the file, what is the length of the file, how many cluster, where it starts, where it ends. All these types of information is actually written into your FAT. That is why it is called as a file allocation table. Now, based on the operating system, there are different types of file systems are used. So major file systems used in today, these are FAT16, FAT32, NTFS and EXFS. So these are the four operating systems that are normally used by Windows. Now I'll say the FAT16 nobody use now. FAT32 is still a very good operating uh, file system because it has a portability across the Unix or Macintosh. So normally if you use your pen drive and if you want to use this pen drive on multiple operating systems, I'll recommend you that you format that with FAT32 only. But these two advanced systems, NTFS and NTFS means new technology file system. That is came when Windows NT came into the market. Windows NT is the first version which gives you the network operating system, gives the support to a network. That means that is why it is called the new technology. When you say NT system, it actually is a server operating system where to that particular computer you can connect other machines. Earlier all operating systems were desktop machines. These are related to only one computer. Now, because of certain limitations of file size and partition sizes, Microsoft came up with another partition, that is extended file system partition, and which is predominantly nowadays it is being used EXFS. Most of the times you use NTFS. We'll see what are the file system and importance of this file system. This EXT, that is extended 1, 2, 3, 4 file system, are related to Linux file system, and now presently extended 4 file system is being used. That is the latest version. Then what is this HFS? That is hierarchical file system, or you can say Apple file system. So this is used in the Macintosh, and this APFS is the latest file system that is used by Apple machines. So these are, whenever you have an operating system has a own way of creating a structure on a hard disk. It creates its own. Of course, MBR is created during your low level formatting, but boot sector is actually created by individual operating systems. And then after creating a boot sector, it automatically creates what is called as a FAT. So if you see any hard disk structure, the hard disk structure will look like this. Master boot sector, then there will be a FAT file allocation table. Master boot sector is normally only one, but you can have a duplicate copy of FAT. That is, if file allocation is damaged because of some reasons, you can get the copy and you can replicate this copy into this. So that is the, for safety features, this FAT is normally duplicated. Then you also have after this, immediately once you format this, then it creates what is called as a root directory or starting directory, which we normally say it is your C drive. And after this C drive, you can have a multiple drives, and in that multiple drives you can create your general files. So that is the remaining portion is for file storage. So this is related to the how exactly hard disk is organized. Now this is the root directory information. Suppose if I create one file in a FAT32, then for one file 32 bytes information is given in earlier operating system. What those 32 files are, you know that here this is 8. If you see the, if you recall C programming, because as I told you C programming, at that time you were forced to use name of the file of only 8 bytes. You can use the extension up to 3 only, because that was the restriction on the DOS based system. So this 8 bytes, 3 bytes, one attribute is for that particular file type. That attribute can be a It is explained at below. It can be archive or a directory, or it is a volume label or a system file or a hidden file or a read-only file. That particular attributes you can set either 0 or 1, and that will give that particular attributes. Because whenever you have a hidden attributes or a system attributes, at that time you will not be able to delete the files, you will not able to see the files. Read only means you cannot delete that particular file, you cannot modify or change that particular file, so that is called the attributes. These 10 bytes were not used, then 2 bytes were used for time, 2 bytes were used for date, then where your where file actually start, that is starting cluster of this, and what is the size of the file in binary. So what is the total size of where it starts, at the end there is a one typical mark done, so you don't need to, because this is a chain structure, so it automatically goes on finding where up to how much long the file is, and at the end of the file there is the end of file mark character that is stored by the operating system, and it automatically understands this is the end of that particular file. So this is the information, just for it was this information was used in a earlier operating system, that is not FAT12 or FAT16. But once 80386 is introduced, then after NTFS, this after 80386, then this FAT32 came into picture, that is 32-bit machines, and they have used this particular structure, which is much better. Now you are using Windows 8, and that also I'll explain you at the end of the lecture. What is disk management and how the files are created. Nowadays, not only this 32 bytes of information of file, but you keep track of huge information of file. Many, that is, I'll show you that particular by what type of information you can operating system keeps from one particular file. Okay, this is a FAT16. FAT16 is normally used for under MS-DOS. It was used. At that time it was compatible with Windows and Linux, but now Windows Linux files are not compatible nowadays. It is only using 16 bits. So obviously maximum number of clusters can be 65526. I hope now you understand the difference between sector and cluster. As I said, cluster is an allocation unit. Cluster can be a combination of one or many sectors. And normally clusters are used to allocate a file. Okay, so maximum number of 65526. So on one hard disk, you cannot create these files more than 65526, right? So this is the one limitation of this. You don't have a boot sector backup of this. At the same time, no security, no permission. So these are the limitations of this. This has overcome some limitation overcome in FAT32, which is introduced along with the Windows 95. It can have a file, one single file can be a size of 4 GB, which is not in FAT16, which can be of only 64K. But here you can have a 4 GB file can be possible with FAT32. There are many large number of clusters now, 268, 4354. That means these many files can be created on the hard disk with one partition can have up to 4 GB, not more than 4 GB. So this is again there. So here, if you see the maximum size of partition can hold is 32 GB. A maximum size of the file can be 4 GB. Maximum number of files created is 268,435. At the same time, because of this, at 32, it is possible that the number of clusters will become small. So more number of files will be created, and ultimately as this cluster size is small, so there will be a less wastage of space. Okay, I'll explain you what is the wastage of space with one simple example. Once I start, three things I'm going to show you on machines. That is, if I forget, you tell me how to show that the wastage of file, then how to see a disk management, and how to see the attributes of any file, which probably you also know. Then boot record has a it also has a backup critical information. What is more important is this NTFS file. This came with NT, that is a network operating system. And in fact, this is new technology file, a network operating system. Then 2000 XP actually use this NTFS. Nowadays also you use NTFS. It has got large partitions you can create. There is fundamentally no limitation on the partition size. What is more important on this partition that you can create the names with Unicode file names. So if you all wish to give the Marathi name to your file name, you can give now. If you have an NTFS, that is Unicode support is there. It has got the permissions of the file that I'll discuss now. That is a read, write, or a modify, delete. These are the certain or execute. These are the file permissions. It has also encryption features. That means your entire file will be encrypted so that nobody will understand it, what is there. If you want to read, you can give your password and it can be decrypted. Just like if you see the Microsoft Office features. If you want your file to be encrypted, you can put a password and you can encrypt your file so that others cannot see it. So there are just multiple. If a file is created, how many times, how many revisions are there or versions of it, it can be maintained in the NTFS. On this NTFS being a server operating system, you can also decide what should be the disk quota for each user. That means if 100 students are there working connecting to the server, then I can give say IUGB or maybe 1 GB to each student. Now I can afford to give 1 GB to each students or 5 GB to each student because our hard disk is coming with 500 GB capacity. Okay, so even if I give 1 GB to one student, at the most 100 GB will be given to 100 students. So this is what is called as a disk quota, and assigning this quota to user, it is possible using NTFS. This is very robust for recovery or error, and it automatically detect the errors. What is more important feature of NTFS is that you can use NTFS for disk mirroring. That means you can have a two hard disks. As soon as the data is written on one hard disk, it is automatically copied onto its mirror hard disk. That means there will be at a time there will be two duplicate hard disks. Uh, Data will be available on two hard disks which is exactly similar. Why this is provided? Because anyway your hard disk is a mechanical device, electromechanical device. So there are chances of failure is there. So in case if any hard disk fails, then you can recover the data from the mirror hard disk. This is called the mirroring. Another way of using a hard disk in a server system is called as a RAID. That is a redundant array of independent disk. That RAID technology it is used. In this RAID technology, 3 to 5 hard disks are stacked one above the another, and here this is continuously server is going on, and whatever the data it is backed up on a multiple disk, and if any disk failure, then this disk failure can be removed immediately without shutting down your server, and that is what it is called as a WhatsApping is possible in case of NTFS system. One bad, if there is any hard disk is bad, automatically it will be indicated onto your front panel, or even it will also give alarm message or something like this, and then operator can, a person who is looking after those server, he can remove that particular hard disk and he can put fresh new hard disk in that position, and automatically the data will be started back up on this. And this is used in all the real-time servers, where especially in defense or especially in banking, where transaction is very important and you cannot afford to have even some milliseconds of server downtime. In that case, we always use a redundant RAID systems. So in this NTFS, as said, it is a less, as the number of clusters are more, so you have a less wasted space. You can give a cluster size can vary right from 512 bytes to 64 kilobytes. It is more security. Practically no partition size limitations for this NTFS. It is very flexible and it uses the concept what is called as a master file table. So it consists of two areas. If you see in this particular figure, entire hard disk is given divided into two parts. 12% it is assigned for master file table area and 88% it is used for file storage area. So this is the new structure that is used, which is again a hierarchical structure, very complex structure that operating system manage itself without having any problems to the end users. So this is all about today. I explained you about very first we said what is the servo mechanism, what is the importance of servo mechanism. Then we come to the how to prepare your hard disk. There are three stages of preparing a hard disk. One stage, as I said, very first, it is a low level formatting which is done at the factory end. Then you need to use a partition. Partition can be done by using operating system softwares or even third party tool softwares. And partitioning is when how partition should be done, that and then what care should be taken and what is created during partition. That is, you have to understood the concept of MVR and boot sector, because that we require to refer again and again when we'll start with the booting process of a computer. That is how computer starts. At that time also you also need to know what is MVR and what is boot sector. Then we have seen what is the file structure. That means where fat structure or file system is created. File system is different for different operating systems, and here this file system is mostly you use NTFS or EXFS for uh, Windows operating system, but you can use other file system like extended 1234 file system for this is Unix, and similarly HFS plus, or we will say Apple file system APFS, is used for Macintosh types of operating system. Hope you have understood this. Now I'll explain you three things related to I wanted to show you. One is something related to the file. Well, how exactly we say that is what is the wastage of space, then what is the file structure you create, and then just I'll show you from my desktop now. Let us say if I create a one file, we have to see how the what is allocation unit and how much size is given to the particular file. Okay, so here let us say I will create one particular file. To create this file, let us say I'll use a Microsoft Office. The Word. I will create a one file through the Word. Okay, this is a blank file I am creating. Okay, here I will just put 4 characters of it. Okay, I have just put my name. Then I will say file, save as. I will save this particular file. Let us say I'll save it on desktop. Okay, this particular file I am saving this on a desktop. Okay, now why I have what I wanted to show you from this particular file. Okay, now this particular file, if you see there somewhere, this my file will be created. Okay, what name I have given to this? Whether I have selected that while creating or not. Okay, I'll again see file, save as. It should be created on a desktop. So here I'll again create save. Okay, now it is created. By default, it is created in a document earlier. Now what I wanted to show you, see, if I open this particular file, and if you see the properties of this particular file, then you will come to know what is the size of the file. It is 12 kilobytes. How many bytes I have written into my file? Only 4. That is ABAK. But how much size is given by operating system to this file? It is 12 KB. That means how many sectors are allocated to this? If you see, there will be now 12 to 88 bytes are allocated to this file, though it is only 4 bytes file, but 12,288 bytes are allocated to this. Out of this actual file size you can store for 11,438. Remaining file size will be used for storing some additional information. That means how much allocation, what is the allocation unit of your operating system? If you carefully calculate, you will find that there will be now 24 sectors are given for one file. That means what is allocation unit? 24 sector is the one allocation unit. So file name will be saved on 24 sectors, giving certain ID for that allocation unit. And whenever you refer this particular file as ABAK, so it will come to know that where it is stored, what is the size of this, and how much, how this will come to know. See that here, all the file informations will be available here. Now you will find when it is created, modified, access, what is the size, where it is stored, which by which software it is created, what is the name of the file, what are the attributes of the file, and if you want to change certain attributes of the file, you can archive and you can compress and you can encrypt this file. Compress means you can reduce the size of the file. Encrypt means you, so that other people will not be able to read this file except you. That means you can encrypt this particular file. So encryption and compression, how it is implemented, we'll see in the booting process, but this is the advanced attributes here. Now if you come to security options, in the security options you will find what are the file where you, how you can edit, who can edit, what are the permissions for this, whether you have full control, you can change, you can read and execute, you can only read or write, or certain permissions. These are, again you also have some advanced permissions, that is who, whether you can share this, you can keep track of this, who can access this, and what are the permission, whether you want to give this file permission to some other users on the network, you can change that particular file permission. That is, I'm talking about the file of just I have just created with the name ABAK. I'm talking about that only. And if you see what is the details of this in file, see these many information is being stored about the file. Title, what is the title, subject, tag, category, comments, original, who has created, last, when it is saved, revision number, what is the revision number of this, because I have created two times, so that is just saying two, because I have created above two times. Then what is the version number, program name, who has created, then what, see this sort of information, what is editing time, when last saved, when created, maybe current type, what, how many pages, what is the character count, how much character count, this is only 4, as I use, will find there is only 4 bytes, where there it's showing you only 4 count. Then line count, there is only one line, how many paragraphs, what is the this sort of information probably you may not have thought of. All this type of information is stored along with file, and this is called as a metadata. That is the data about file, it's called as a metadata, and this metadata is used. So whatever I said now to you, so even if I cancel this, if I again go to this particular properties of this, as I said, 11,432 bytes are reserved for writing. Actually, these many bytes you can write in a file. This much space is consumed by your file. Then what are the difference between these bytes? These are used to store the additional information, that is metadata information is used in these bytes. So I hope now you have understood both the parts. I mean, first is wastage of space. Can I say it is a wastage of space? Yes, I will say there is a wastage of space, because I require to use only 4 bytes, as against to that 4 bytes it is giving wasting a 12 24 sectors or 12 kbs is given. But why it is given? Because I today I have typed this, tomorrow I may change it again. Again, this file size will go on increasing. If a file size increase more than certain 512 sectors, and if allocation unit is only 512, then some portion will be at one place, another portion will be some other place, third portion will be at some different places, which should not be there. So whenever you changes at that, when this file will have a additional when this file will be stored at some different location, only when if the size of the file is increased more than 20 kilobytes, then only it will be linked, and the link will be that this much sectors are there from this sector to this. Then at the last 24th sector there will be link automatically maintained by your hard disk, and it will give the next allocation unit, and then again it will go to there, and then it will retrieve the remaining data after 12 kilobytes. So this is the way how these files are created. More the cluster, lesser the size, lesser the size of the cluster, lesser will be the wastage of your data space. But this is the some optimum size of the cluster is selected by the operating system. it is in your hand. You can also select during formatting. You can also decide what should be the allocation unit, whether you want to have a small allocation unit or larger allocation unit. It is again depend how many files you are going to store in a partition. Accordingly, you have to decide. Now the last part that I wanted to show you is how you use your disk management features. So here, if you see your disk management features, so let's see here. I will just search. I will just for search for disk management. Okay, this is okay. The same option is selected, which I actually want. Okay, see now what is disk management? If you see disk management, it shows this is about my hard disk now. If you see this particular hard disk, what is the basic hard disk? Maybe here. Now this particular hard disk is of 300. I think it is 300 GB hard disk. It is shown here to a 98.0 dB. That is basic hard disk. This is now see this is only one hard disk I have. That is why it is a disk 0. Now another hard disk, it is showing this removable I drive because I have connected my drive to your my this particular when you have a removable I drive. So this removable I drive is for there is no media it says, but if I connect to my mobile, it will show that this will be my additional hard drive. Of course, this is the third drive, that is CD-ROM drive. Now my hard disk is divided into four parts. This is a 1C drive, which is NTFS partition, having 102.7. Almost I have created 100 GB for my softwares. Then D drive. Normally on D drive, I keep the data. This is all study materials and learning materials and department related data. Everything it is over here. And on F drive, I have created this. Even I can just like study material, I can also give this data it over here, or some downloaded softwares you can keep over here. Then whatever the softwares you install, you can also use in the D drive. That means data, softwares, or important things you can accordingly you can classify this. Now whenever I say formatting a hard disk, see that here if you see this something like whenever you say action, so here these actions you can have, you can perform these many actions. Okay, here format is not shown here because this is a your system partition, and your system partition you cannot very easily format. You can change the drive later. You can see what is there. You can shrink a volume. That means you can compress a volume. You can add a mirroring. You can delete a volume. You can do certain. You can extend the volume also. That is extended partition. So if you wish to create. Okay, now it is not possible here. But if I go for this partition, if I select D drive as a partition, and these are the partitions you create during your installation of operating system, and later on if you want to resize, split, etc., all these operations are possible at this particular by using this particular disk management features, or even there can be a good tools which you can also be used for these purposes. So if I do this now, and even if I go for action and all tasks, you'll find that if I use select this format, then automatically it will say which type of format file system you want. So it will support only NTFS or NTFS. What is a volume label? Like here study material, same name label you will have it. Now see allocation size, how much allocation size you want. I hope you understood now what is allocation unit. That is how much size should be given to each file. Then perform a quick format or this. So if I say okay, all data will be erased. Okay, so that much you have to take care while doing a formatting your hard disk. So this is the information. Lots of information is there. You just go to here you can see this particular information on this. This is the more information related to this. So here there are different ways you can see this particular information. So in fact in action there is a more information is given. about which type of drive is there. It also gives the types of this hard disk. So see, in this file there are different options. Whether you want to clean up this particular hard disk, that is automatically unwanted file or unlinked files or wastage files, temporary files, this will be automatically deleted by the operating system, which is no more required. So this is all information you can also try at your end, and this is all about the hard disk as I explained in two parts. One is related to hardware related and another part comes under the software related. Also, we need to do certain practicals. Practicals means installing operating system, formatting a formatting a hard disk, creating a partition, a single partition or a dual partitions. All type of these are the practicals which you can also perform during practicals. But as if it is not possible, I have got one desktop machine which I have purchased again. Somewhat I have one good desktop machine also with me. If when it comes to taking a practicals, I will demonstrate these particular practicals on my machine also. Or best way that whenever I'm in the college, mostly on Tuesday I will try to execute certain practicals on the system. So I will show you this practical at least, how to format a disk, how to partition a disk, then how to install the operating system into disk, or maybe how you can go for a multiple dual partition, or how you can install this driver softwares, or these similar. Uh, there are a lot of things you can learn, or you can also learn through your videos also. Here,
Excuse me, sir.
bola,
Sir, that next lecture, sir is waiting for that.
Acha,
MSc.
okay, okay. I'll stop here only. Okay. मग कोणाला काही क्वेश्चन आहे का आता यू राईट डाऊन युअर क्वेश्चन नेक्स्ट टाइम विल डिस्कस युअर क्वेश्चन ओके
Yes, sir.
समजलंय तुम्हाला आता हे हॅव यू अंडरस्टूड प्रॅक्टिकल पार्ट माझं हे जे डेमो दिला मी तो लक्षात येतोय आलाय
Yes,
का
sir.
लक्षात ओके देन यू जस्ट अंडरस्टँड धिस वे आणि जेवढी तुम्ही माहिती इन्फॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट कराल दॅट इज गोइंग टू बी दॅट विल हेल्प यू मोर सो हिअर as I'll stop first recording.